Mortgage fraud is a criminal offense. It's we the people. It's what the Constitution says. It's not what these little group of people sets up town, or either whether they got a clique, or if they got a good old boys club, or whatever they've got going on. We don't need to sit by and let these people walk all over us when it's illegal. You know, forgery is a crime. It is a crime. You cannot forge stuff on people and get away with it. Get back into the Attorney General's office to prove to them that all this stuff was forged and it was fraud and, you know, nothing. And that has been going on since 2010, 11, 12, and 13. And I want to know why the North Carolina Attorney General has not done anything to help any of these people in North Carolina in foreclosure that have been foreclosed on and are being foreclosed on illegally with forged affidavits. Do you think that these forged affidavits are just going to crawl away and hide up under a rock and nothing's never going to be said about it? All these forged affidavits that has happened to these people where they have lost their homes, these are the people's homes. They have worked hard for these hundreds and hundreds of people in North Carolina have lost their homes due to forged affidavits, due to excess escrow amounts added on there to where that they could not pay. They prey on the elderly, the uneducated, and the poor people, the people that cannot afford an attorney. Hi, I'm Maggie Walker coming to you again about the fraud, forgery that's going on in the state of North Carolina and throughout the United States. I have documentation here through Justice League. Federal investigations are looking into allegations that banks have wrongfully pocketed tens of millions of dollars from troubled homeowners by doubling bills through the escrow account. And the post of bankruptcy cases shows it could range higher than $150 million just for the new cases filed this year. I do hereby charge Capel, Texas-based American Home Mortgage and Option 1, their collection agencies and attorneys who have used and are currently using forgery and illegal and fraudulently tactics to collect money in excess of what homeowners truly own. American Home Mortgage and their agencies and attorneys have falsely claimed that homeowners do not make payments on time so they can justify excess fees for escrow accounts. American Home Mortgage and Option 1 have failed to properly credit all payments which have been made on time. All the above leads to their unlawfully foreclosure on homeowners such as myself who have not defaulted. I have proof and documentation. These mortgage companies, their attorneys and notaries, and so-called vice presidents who are not and have never been vice presidents are still practicing in different states and still committing forgery and fraud. My complaint against the above mentioned is for violation of the laws of the United States of fraudulent documentation, civil rights violations, civil rights penalties, conducting deceptive trade practices, predatory lending, fraud on the courts, and disregard for Florida and North Carolina rules of civil procedure. Option 1 and American Home Mortgage, their attorneys, all the signers of forged documents sent to me have committed violations of North Carolina Consumer Protection Laws and the Federal Consumer Protection Laws. I have 5 forged affidavits that were sent to me by Shapiro and Ingle. Anyone suffering at foreclosure at a minimum is entitled to foreclosure in accordance to the letter of the law and not in a court proceeding based on fraudulently affidavits and documentations of half-truths. If you have forged affidavits and you know that they are forged and you bring them into court to your court hearing, well, the assistant deputy clerk, she will tell you that we can't hear that here. Well, this here is a hearing to see whether you get to keep your home or not. It's based on you know, everything that's legal. And when you've got 5 forged affidavits in your possession and you bring them to a court of law and they say they cannot hear them, that should be against the law. That should not be so. It should all this stuff like this should be changed. hundreds and hundreds of people in North Carolina have lost their homes due to forged affidavits, due to excess escrow amounts added on there to where that they could not pay. They prey on the elderly, the uneducated, and the poor people, the people that cannot afford an attorney. So, if any one of you can see this video, and you have been foreclosed, even if you have been foreclosed on, even if you were behind in your payments, they should have went through legal channels to foreclose on you, and not using excess escrow fees, and not using forged documents that come from DOCX and LPS. On April the 3rd, 2011, CBS 60 Minutes aired a segment showing massive fraud by banks and mortgage-backed trusts in foreclosures. The segment foreclosed on one particular document mill, DOCX, DOCX, owned by Linda Processing Service, a company that works over 51 banks. One former employee confessed to committing forgery on 4,000 documents a day. What banks trust most often use the DOCX forged documents in foreclosure. What I mean by that is these people that hire, DOCX hires people to come in, and they said and signed, the segment on this was Linda Green. They found hundreds and hundreds of Linda Green signature, and none of them match, because people that were paid $10 an hour to go in and just sit and sign Linda Green, and you know, you have one person signing Linda Green, and another person signing Linda Green, and another person signing Linda Green, and none of them match. And then they had a notary that would stamp it, and that is forged, and that is fraud. And this has been widespread in the United States since 2007. And all this stuff, predatory lending, is, I know of one person that had, there was one guy that came from Greensboro Home Equity, a loan company, a lending company in Greensboro, North Carolina, came to this person 10, 11 times and asked him to do loans and to do loans and to do loans. And that's what I call predatory lending. And even though this person had lots and lots of other bills and all, this man went along with the mortgage broker and went and done a lot of financing and stuff, whereas he really should not have gotten a loan to start with, because he was not eligible to get a loan. And also the attorney generals in a lot of the other states, a lot of the states have come against these forged documentations, but the North Carolina State Attorney General, I've been tried to start to see him, I think it was September the 9th of 2009, and since then I have not gotten anywhere. He would not even look at anything. I sent him, tried to get back in to see him in 2010, 2011, and 2012, so I give up on that. And I want to know why the North Carolina Attorney General will sit by and let hundreds and hundreds of people lose their homes illegally because of forged and fraud. Attorney General of Texas, Greg Abbott, mortgage fraud is a criminal offense. Mortgage fraud is a criminal offense. That is what I'm trying to talk about with the state of North Carolina. When you go into a court of law and you have all your documentation and you can prove this and you can prove other things, and they sit and won't let you bring it into evidence, they use a little technicality because of escrow that you don't owe, escrow that you have paid, that you have double paid. Just like me, for 3 years I had paid like in 1 year I paid the mortgage company, and they failed to pay Wake County, and then the sheriff came knocking on the door and I had to pay the sheriff, and then in another year the same thing happened. I paid it with the mortgage payment, and then they changed lenders, and when they changed lenders in the middle of the year, they stated that I didn't pay the prior year before, and so I had to pay that year twice. And then in 2010 I paid the mortgage company, and then they failed to pay, and then I went and paid Wake County. But anyway, like 3 years I double paid the tax escrow, but my account was non-escrowed to start with. But since my husband was a little bit sick and the economy was going down back 2006-07, I had called the mortgage company and asked them would they add it on there. And your mortgage is about your escrow is about $1,200 a year, so it would be a little over $100 extra added to your mortgage payment. So I did that, but they failed to pay Wake County. They failed to pay my taxes. In 2010, I paid double, and I took paying my own taxes back. I've always paid my insurance. And then they sit here and try to close on you on kind of a technicality. They haven't paid my tax escrow in 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. The last 4 years I have paid it. And in fact, for 7 years of taxes, I have paid 10 because I had paid double. As it stands right now, American Home Mortgage owes me over $16,000. And if you go back and look at all your fees, they add other kind of fees too. Also, I want to talk about Popular Mortgage, Equity One, Litton Loan, and Ocwen. And when they change they changed their name. It's all still owned by the same people, but they just changed the names. They fleeced people and then they changed their name. Like Litton Loan, they tried to foreclose on me in 2009, and they couldn't because they had all the proof. And then in 2009, American Home Mortgage tried to foreclose on me, and I had paid them 16 payments in 2009. There was no legal reason for them to try to foreclose on me, but yet they did with their little forged documentations and all the fraud. And so now in 2012, January the 4th of 2012, here they come again. Trying to foreclose on me again, stating that I'm 3 payments behind, which I am not, and which I have not been. I have paid all the tax, insurance, and all my payments. I've got documentation. I have got proof of all of it. This has been dragging on now. This is May, and this has been going on since January of 2012, and this is May 2013, and they have still not settled anything. They just drag it around and drag it around and drag it around. I know some people that they have been doing this to for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and they keep dragging it out and dragging it out. And one person, they got their date that they were going to court confused, and they didn't go, and they foreclosed on them. And it's just all this stuff goes on and on and on and on and on. And a lot of these deputies, they have all the information that they need to dismiss all these cases, but they don't do it. They just keep on and on and on. It's just like the Attorney General's office in North Carolina. I started to see them back in September of 2009. And then in 2010, I sent them information. And they sent it to the mortgage company. The mortgage company sent back a bunch of fraud, a bunch of lies, crooked stuff. And Wake County with my 5 forged affidavits. And she said, we can't do anything about it. Why can't she do anything about it? Guilford County has brought a lawsuit against these banks that have been doing this. Okay. Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, you can go online and pull up this thing called Fraud Digest, and it gives you additional information. Wells Fargo, option 1, American Home Mortgage have relied on fraudulently mortgage assignments in foreclosure evictions. Option 1, American Home Mortgage and Wells Fargo, there should be 1. American Home Mortgage is one of the largest servicer in the country. It manages nearly 72.5 billion loan servicing, representing about 384,000 customers. One notary, she went to the Attorney General's office and she made a plea deal with them, and she had admitted to notarizing over 20,000 false documents. and we have Shapiro and Fishman in Florida. Posted on August the 26th, 2010, the tags assignment of mortgage attorney general Bill Malcolm, Brenda Frazier, fabricated assignments, Florida foreclosure fraud, foreclosure mills investigation. Okay, chances are if you've had any dealings with Equity One, Popular Mortgage, Litton Loan, Aquin, Centuris, Greenpoint Mortgage, Bank of America, More Equity, Nation Star, if you and there's so many more little subsidiaries of Wells Fargo and Bank of America, and I'm thinking that Aquin is a bank and Mellon is a bank, that these have these little subsidiaries, and they prey on the elderly, the uneducated, and the poor people that cannot afford an attorney. Okay, Gerald Shapiro, he is in a lot of the states in North Carolina, like he's in North Carolina, but he's not licensed in North Carolina. But he has a partner, Grady Ingle, that is out of Charlotte. And just like he's in Florida, Gerald Shapiro is with Fishman in Florida. And he's already been in the Florida courts with MERS, Mortgage Electronic Restoration, and Green, and I've been through all that with the Attorney General. And Brenda Frazier fabricated assignments in Florida, and she's also done it up here in North Carolina. We have got to come together. We have got to come together. If you have been foreclosed on in the past, you need to go back and bring everything out in the open. You need to go back and you need to ask the lenders, attorneys, for all affidavits that came against you through the Register of Deeds in the state of North Carolina. Any county, you need to do that. You need to, and if you're in litigation now, you need to ask the mortgage companies' attorneys for their affidavits, and you need to check them off to see if they have been forged or if there's any fraud in them or any forgery in it. And there's a place you can go online that's called Living List Web Blog. You can go on there, and also the Florida Attorney General Open Government, and you can go to RoboSigning becomes more efficient, and it's S.T.O.P. You can go on all these places and pull up all this information for yourself. And like the Kentucky Attorney General Conway filed suit against MERS in foreclosure, all this, and chances are any of your mortgage companies will have MERS on it or Fannie Mae on it, and you need to check all this stuff out. And also you can go to REBA. It's the Real Estate Bar Association of Massachusetts, and in Maryland they have the FBI have been looking into a lot of this fraud stuff. The FBI in New York, and in this district, like in Massachusetts, they have uncovered a lot of forged affidavits there, forgery in Massachusetts, falsely making a document. Okay, and I'm bringing up the state of North Carolina again. I know a lot of people in the whole United States of America are going through a lot of things again. And I even went to the North Carolina Commissioner of Banks to see if I could enlist their help. They sent 2 letters to American Home Mortgage before they could get a response out of them. And on April the 14th, 2011, they got a response. And the whole letter was fabricated. There was nothing in the letter that was true. And so I tried to go back to the Commissioner of Banks to bring proof that the letter that they sent them was incorrect. And they wouldn't have anything to do with it. And the letter from that they had sent to the Commissioner of Banks, dated April the 14th, 2011, like this letter states here, on January the 14th, 2010, we received funds of $7,112.33. Now this is from American Home Mortgage to the Commissioner of Banks. And then they sent me a letter, that was in April, and then in October they sent me a letter.
Who sent you a letter?
American Home Mortgage sent me a letter. American Home Mortgage sent me a letter. They didn't send this to the Commissioner of Banks. They sent it to me. And they stated in this letter that on January the 13th, 2010, that I paid over $11,000. But yet in the letter to the Commissioner of Banks, they stated I paid over $7,000. And then I've got a letter here 1 month before they started foreclosure in December the 5th of 2011, which they started foreclosure in January the 4th of 2012. Okay, this right here states that they owe me $2,180.88.
Who wrote that letter?
American Home Mortgage. American Home Mortgage sent me this letter dated December the 5th of 2011. American Home Mortgage sent a letter to me stating that I had an overage of $2,180.88. But in their Exhibit A that they had presented to the court with their forged affidavits, they said that I owed them a little over $3,000. So that's just a difference of $6,000. But yet, as today, I have proof, positive, I have proof that option 1, American Home Mortgage, to date, owe me over $16,000. And all this is not going away. They're going to have to pay me my money, and it's not going away. And I want to appeal to North Carolinians. If you have lost your home in foreclosure, and if you're in litigation now, you can get in touch with me. You can write me at Post Office Box 10566. Raleigh, North Carolina, 27605. And again, I am Maggie Walker. And any help I can give you, and any avenue I can lead you down, if there's anything that I can help you with in your cases or whatever, but you be sure that you ask the mortgage company's attorneys for all affidavits, and I can help you. You can go on and look up through Fraud Digest and other places. You can go on and just punch in American Home Mortgage Fraud, Litton Loan Fraud, Aquin Loan Fraud, and punch in all that stuff, and it'll come up to you. You can Google it. Anything that has to do with fraud in a mortgage company, Wells Fargo fraud, Bank of America fraud, and any other bank that you think, Aquin, Mellon Bank, Aquin Bank fraud, and just put in the word fraud behind it, and you can pull up all this information. But let me tell you something. If you're in the state of North Carolina and you're being foreclosed on, you need to fight it tooth and nail. You don't need to give up on anything. And if you need my help, just let me know, and I will be glad to help you in any way I can. I have been doing this for 4 years. I have recorded everything that has come from American Home Mortgage since 2009. But what you need to do is you need to keep all your letters and all your papers, and you need to get your little tape recorder, and you need to set it in front of your phone, and when you talk to these people, you put them on your speakerphone and you record them. You record everything that they say. And I have recorded them since 2009, and I have got so much fraud stuff that they have said to me that was not true, and how they have fleeced me through escrow and other things. And also Aquin and Litton Loan, they add all these other fees, far-fetched fees, stuff that you probably don't even understand. They've even tacked it onto some of mine. My husband had a little bit of rental property, and so I know about all these extra fees that they put on there that's illegal, that shouldn't be on there. In other words, they'll add on closing fees and all this other fees that you've done and paid when you foreclosed. And also, let me tell you something else too. When you did these loans, predatory lending is if you paid $5,000 and $6,000, $4,000 and $6,000, $7,000 at a closing, oh my, they owe you money. That's illegal. They should not be charging you all that money. And I can go over all that stuff with you. I can go over any of that stuff with you. But it's time for us North Carolinians to take it. It's we the people. It's we the people. It's what the Constitution says. It's not what this little group of people sets up town, or either whether they got a clique, or if they got a good old boys club, or whatever they've got going on. We don't need to sit by and let these people walk all over us when it's illegal. Forgery is a crime. It is a crime. You cannot forge stuff on people and get away with it. And like I said before, it's not going to go away. It's not ever going to go away. It's going to be dealt with. And I want every person that's in North Carolina that has been foreclosed on, I want you to get up and let's do something about it. You can go back and ask. You can go back and ask. We need to get a class action lawsuit going on, or whatever, our personal lawsuit, or whatever lawsuit you want to get going on against any of these mortgage companies, that I have named. We need to get something going on, and we need to pull all this stuff back out of the woodwork, and we need to sit down and see what's going on with all of it. And again, my name is Maggie Walker, and if I can help you in any way, please let me know. Post Office Box 10566, Raleigh, North Carolina 27605.